Friday nights in the mountains hit different. Rivalries renew as August heat turns into cold mountain nights. From Mitchell to Murphy, we've got the plays, the players, and the matchups that matter. The battle for the Blue Ridge starts here. This is Mountain Matchups.
Welcome back to Mountain Matchups. The battle for the Blue Ridge starts here. I'm Caleb, joined as always by Corey and Warren. Boys, we've made it to the 5th round of the state playoffs. We have three teams from WNC left, including one that's already in the state championship game. And we're going to get into all that here in just a moment. Fellas, how was your Thanksgiving? Anything exciting go on? Corey, did you kill any more deer?
No, I've just killed the one. Seen a few, but nothing worth shooting. We're going to try again this weekend.
Pathetic.
So,
well, our buddy Ryan's wife actually hit a deer yesterday, I believe, probably running from you trying to shoot them. So thanks for that. I'm sure he's very appreciative.
I know a deer. Hate to see him coming.
my trigger finger itching.
Let's get into these games and how they went. We're going to start off with our game of the week recap. It was Pisgah at Brevard, and boys, last Friday's showdown in Brevard had everything. We had a fast start, we had some heavy hits, some wild momentum swings, and I mean, they were just trading punches all night. But in the end, Brevard advanced 49-28. But this score isn't truly indicative of how hard fought this game was. So let's kind of talk through how this one got out of hand late and why Brevard is moving on. So Warren, starting off, we were really impressed with Brevard. They came out blazing, scored on their first two possessions, and jumped ahead 13-0.
Yeah, they set the tone early with a physical style. Pope had to fight for every inch of every yard that he was attempting to get. Pisgah finally found a spark when Mahaffey broke loose on a keeper and in the quarter. The Bears capitalized with a long answering drive to cut it 13-7. But the way the game started, we were listening on the radio. Brevard, if you're out there, I know you're listening. Maybe next season get those games streamed a little bit. But regardless, the radio call, I just want to pinpoint the Brevard radio guys are absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
they
are.
Is fantastic. But yeah, back to the game. Brevard came out blazing. We actually thought that the game might end up being a blowout, but Pisgah came back and made a game of it.
Yeah, it was every time that I thought, I was like, okay, now Brevard, they're really going to pull away, and then Pisgah would go back down, drive down the field and score again. And you got to credit Landon Pope's running, man. I mean, we were listening on the radio, like we said, and you're hearing Danny and his partner on the radio talking about how hard Pope was running and how they needed to slow him down, and it just seemed like they couldn't get him down. That he was carrying defender after defender. But I actually went back and watched some highlights this past week and actually got to see it with my eyes. And dude, for a kid to run that hard on a team like Brevard, I mean, that's not a bunch of chumps, you know what I mean? And he's carried, like you could tell he knew that like it could and ended up being his last game, and he played like it.
Yeah. I think once they started off down 13-0, Pope was like, all right, enough of this crap. And was just started carrying dudes. And, they get that touchdown to cut the score to 13-7. And then the ball's on Pisgah. They kick an onside kick and recover it. And this is in the first quarter. So, hey, massive cojones on Coach Brindley. Corey, talk a little bit about that call and just how gutsy it was.
Dude, I mean, it was just such a huge momentum swing. And, I mean, honestly, I didn't see it coming. I mean, I'm sitting there listening on the radio. I'm like, okay, Pisgah got on the board. They're going to try and play some defense here. I think it was a great time to call it. That's a ballsy call. That's all I can say. And credit to Coach Brindley for catching him off guard. And not once, but twice, which we'll get into here in a minute.
I mean, in regards to that call, the first game me and Corey went to, I know Brevard had a couple of, turnovers that helped Pisgah out. But it seemed like every time Brevard got the ball, they would just go down the field and damn near score every time. So Pisgah knew they had to throw some wrinkles in there. I don't know who Pisgah's special teams coach is, but you really coached those players up in a great way Friday night. really impressed with that. I'm more of a special teams kind of guy myself. So, yeah, props to the Pisgah Bears on that.
Yeah, and so from that onside kick, they were able to go down behind Pope, carrying dudes. Putnam ends up punching it in down towards the goal line. And so Pisgah gets its first lead, 14-13. Out of nowhere, suddenly they're on top after looking like they were going to get the brakes beat off of them to start the game. But then, of course, Brevard, they respond. I think they started off this game 4 for 4 on drives for touchdowns.
Yeah.
It was either 3 for 3 or 4 for 4, something like that. Anyways, Christian Conley, who ran crazy all night on Pisgah's defense, he scored for Brevard to make it 20-14. Brevard gets another stop. Conley hits on a deep shot to Cantrell for around 70 yards. They go up 27-14. And here you are thinking again, all right, Brevard's taking control back. It's going to be over. Well, second half kickoff, shanked punt. Pisgah gets a short field. They convert on a fourth down, and eventually Pope scores again to make it 27-21. So, boys, they're back in it, 27-21. What do you think happens?
Yeah, so what happens is Pisgah, they come out and try and do a little pooch kick, obviously trying to keep it away from Thompson Wynn, and end up giving the ball to Brevard near midfield. And Pisgah's actually got a chance to get off the field and come up with a big stop, but a targeting call on a hit to Thompson extended the drive. And though a long fake handoff run by Conley was erased by holding, Brevard still finished with Conley's third touchdown. The 2-point try to McPhee made it 35-21, and Pisgah was back in a hole.
I actually don't mind the pooch kick, whatever it takes to keep the ball out of Hyphen's hands. I think I said last week, verbatim, like I don't care if you start at half field, wherever you need to start off at, because Hyphen will literally take it to the house probably a third of the time anytime he receives the ball. He did it the week before last, actually, or maybe, week before last. So I didn't mind that at all. The targeting call, you just can't do stuff like that. That extend the drive like that was an absolute killer for Pisgah.
Yeah, I mean, they had a chance to get the ball back and go back down and take the lead again.
Yeah,
with a PAT, but yep, you can't have mental errors like that in big time games.
And just speaking of Hyphen real quick, we should point out that to this point in the game, so here we are like mid third quarter, almost to the fourth quarter, he hasn't had a catch.
Yep. So
that was surprising. Corey, I think in some of the highlights you said you were looking at, he was open. But I guess Conley was just trusting his legs this game. Didn't want to throw it too much. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that's one thing that really hurt Pisgah when I was able to go back and actually watch the highlights and kind of see what was going on was their secondary just didn't have the best game. That's why the bomb happened to Cantrell like it did. Mm-hmm. It was just a blown coverage. Safeties got lost over top. Cornerback bit down for some reason when he was – it looked like he was going to drop back into like cover 3 or cover 4 or something. I don't remember what they had, but so you just can't. And then Thompson ends up cooking the cornerback again when he finally gets to score. And so, it was just a rough night for the secondary for Pisgah.
Yeah, for sure. And so Pisgah doesn't give up, even though they're down 35-21. Pope dragging dudes once again down the field. Inside the 15, Putnam scores again, cuts it 35-28. Warren, special teams, baby. They did it again. They recovered another onside kick. Down 7 points. Pisgah's going to do it, right?
So we were listening to this on the radio. I'm not going to say the kind of language that I was, because I was actually pretty freaking pumped. Another onside kick. Even the Brevard announcers like, oh, okay. They were shocked. And we're thinking, 35-28, Pisgah's got the ball. It's going down. But then Mahaffey's pass was intercepted McPhee in Brevard territory. And that was another killer. The targeting call and that interception. I know the score is 49-28, but this game was so much closer and could have went so many different ways. Brevard turned that into points with a touchdown pass to Hyphen. They go up 42-28. That's a potential 14-point swing right there. Let alone the targeting call previously. So that's when things were beginning to become unraveled for Pisgah, or did become unraveled rather.
Well, here's the thing that sucks about the interception too. Like we talked about, it was in Brevard territory, but we're not talking about just across the 50. I mean, they were knocking on the freaking door, dude, about to score again. Like we're on the edge of our seats. We're sitting there on FaceTime with each other, or on Google Meet rather, and listening to this thing. And we're like, what the heck is happening? And yeah, just a unfortunate series of events there for Pisgah. But I just want to say, I don't know if it was lost on the same line on the onside kicks, like if it's the same kid or the same area or whatever. But if it was, but even if it wasn't, just to be the two separate kids, I would hate going back to Coach Coleman on the sideline after losing the second one, because that would be scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was fuming.
The bottom line is Pisgah just never could get out of that 13-0 hole that they started themselves off in. And then at the end of the game, we were talking about it was 42-28. Pisgah gets another chance to try to tighten it up. The drive stalls on a bobbled snap on 4th down, turnover on downs. Brevard goes ahead and hits Hyphen, since they hadn't given him any action all night to that point, and that really put the game away, 49-28. So, much closer game than the final score shows. Credit to Pisgah for fighting, trying to pull out all stops, which you got to do on the road in the playoffs against the number 1 seeded team. You recover a couple onside kicks, but just, man, that targeting call, which I wish we could have seen it on tape. Obviously we're listening to Brevard's radio guys, so they might be a little biased in their interpretation of how it looked, but either way, the refs called it, and that hurt him. And then, of course, the interception for Mr. Mahaffey as they were driving down there. That's tough for him as a senior quarterback to throw that pick in that spot, but it happens. That's part of the game. So, rambling now. You guys got anything else on this one?
I mean, at the end of the day, the better team won. Facts are facts. Pisgah got 2 onside kicks. If you had told me before the game started that Pisgah would have got 2 onside kicks, I'd been pretty elated with it. But they recovered those kicks and they still lost, so the better team won.
I got one last thing to add. I gave Pisgah a lot of crap all season about how I didn't think that they were the team that everybody thought they were, and I will say they earned my respect, especially down the stretch and in the playoffs. They, man, I don't know, they just had a will about them, and even Citizen Times had them picked to finish middle of their conference this year, which it's a pretty good conference, but they had them behind quite a few teams, and I don't think anybody really saw this deep of a run coming. It's the deepest they've been, I believe, since 2006 with Zach James and them. So credit to those kids for battling and for paving the way for the future kids.
Yeah, I think a big part of the reason Pisgah might have been overlooked is because nobody was expecting Pope to have, the season that he did. He goes from 800 something yards last year and I think maybe 11 touchdowns to what did he? I think he got over 2,000 into that.
Yeah,
I want to say he was close to 2,500.
No, I think
maybe 22.
I think he ended up with 2,100 and
okay.
No telling how many touchdowns, but a lot.
Anyway, so he damn near tripled his yardage on the ground. Yeah. I don't think anybody saw that coming, and that was a big part of Pisgah's success. So credit to him and the work they put in the offseason to build that offense around him. And let's run down some stats real quick. Mahaffey was 4 for 11, 72 yards and a pick. So he did throw it more than he had been previously, and that's something we talked about that would be big for Pisgah. But he also ran the ball very effectively. He had 8 carries for 50 yards and a touchdown, averaged 6.3 yards a carry, so that's great coming out of the quarterback spot. Then, of course, you have Mason Putnam, gets 10 carries, 56 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then Pope with 162 and a touchdown, 7.4 yards per carry in his last game for the Pisgah Bears. And now he's locked in on wrestling season. I've seen some posts already. He's getting after it, trying to win a state title there. So good luck to him. And then on the Brevard side, Christian Conley, a 6 touchdown night, 3 on the ground, 3 passing, around 200 yards total offense, 5 for 8 throwing. So great game for him. Braylon Thompson chips in 85 yards and a touchdown. Nyrell Skinner was 64 yards. So, in the end, Brevard just had enough. That early lead they were able to sustain through to the end of the game, and they're moving on. Pisgah's going home. But it was a great game. And it was even fun to listen to on the radio, which you don't hear very often, being able to get into a game on the radio. But we were enjoying it. So, congrats to Brevard. They're going to play Maiden this week, and we're going to talk about that game here in a minute. So let's talk about the rest of the games in the mountains. We're going to start off with Robbinsville, the 1A Wagon. They win 41-7. It was a dominant win over South Davidson and punched their ticket to the 1A state championship game. So not only do they only play 5 rounds in 1A, but Robbinsville had a bye the first week. So 3 wins later, they got to win 1 more, and they are state champions. They've reached a running clock in all 3 of their playoff victories, and they're now headed to their 18th state title appearance in program history, the first since 2019. I mean, guys, they're a wagon.
Yeah, I mean, when you got 2 kids like Kazik Tizateski and Isaac Collins, I mean, you had Isaac Collins switching from running back to fullback, and a kid who previously played center, and you put him at running back, and he turns into almost a 1,000-yard rusher and 20 touchdown running back. And then Isaac Collins, from what he had already had yards on the ground as running back, then he comes in at fullback and adds 700 yards. And Luke, bye. That boy's always balling. So, yeah, the Black Knights, man, they always got some cats out there.
So, as far as Tisateski goes, I'm surprised I didn't completely butcher that name. He used to previously play center. Now they're basically using him as a running back slash fullback. I'm assuming he's just running people clear flat over.
Yeah,
he
is.
Yeah.
And he's actually, I mean, he's more of an athletic build than when we first heard about him, it was like, oh, like it was in the paper, this kid used to play center. And then I actually seen him on Instagram, seen his pictures of him playing. I was like, dang. I was like, I mean, he's a strong looking kid. It just surprised me that he used to play center, which, I mean, maybe he was a bit bigger or something, lost some weight. I don't know, but he's definitely getting it done on the ground.
He's also got a great name, Kazik Tisateski.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
You got to love it. Yeah, so, I mean, by all measures, Robbinsville is the heavy favorite for this upcoming game. I don't want to dig into the state championship game yet against Wilson Prep because that game is actually going to be next week. So that is December 11th. I figure we can talk about that next Tuesday in what could be our last episode. It's going to be a little sad. We're winding down, but
yeah,
Robbinsville's averaging 50 points per game in the playoffs, and they've had a running clock in every single one, winning by an average of 43 points per game. So they're looking good. Wow. They're playing their best football at the perfect time, and their seniors get, one more shot at bringing another championship back to Big Oaks country, baby.
Hey, and I do want to add, right now, they're currently, if I'm not mistaken, they have won 14 state championships in football over the years, and they've been there 17 times. So they're 14 for 17 right now with a chance to win 15 for 18. I mean, that's just it's unheard of.
Well, they've won more state titles and Inca's made the playoffs in their program history, so that's pretty good.
Still catching strays.
Actually, that stat's probably correct, though.
No, it probably is.
Sadly enough.
Unfortunately.
So, yeah, good luck to Robbinsville. We'll talk more about their upcoming state championship game next episode. Murphy wins over Corvian Community. A hard-fought game, 49-40. It was 42-27 Murphy at halftime, but Corvian made a nice push in the third quarter to tighten things up behind freshman quarterback Tyson Douglas Brown. I feel like the only thing he's missing is Mike Tyson Douglas Brown. He should be Mike Tyson Duster Douglas Brown. Duster,
I was going to say that.
Say it.
I was going to go
Douglas
there.
Brown.
I was going to go there. These young bloods listening don't know who the crab buster Douglas is anyway.
I know who Douglas Brown is, though. He went to Pole Creek Baptist.
Oh, we're going off the rails here. Anyways, Corvian quarterback Tyson Douglas Brown had over 300 yards total offense and passed for 5 touchdowns. Not too shabby for a freshman. And guys, it was 42-40 Murphy with around 4 minutes left. But Corey, what happened?
Oh, man. Who else? Cameron Clem, dude. Busted a 40-yard touchdown run. I mean, that kid, he's just freaking – he's so good. Extra point was good to make it a 2-score game, and the defense hung on to be able to pull this one out. Clem, he finished with 377 yards this game, 4 touchdowns, so cut his previous week in half, I believe. But still, 4 touchdowns on the ground on 26 carries. So, yeah, they're rolling. Murphy's good.
Yeah, so Murphy won even though Cameron Clem had an off night.
with 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's a bad night for him.
I have something to add to that. You know, we've talked about Clem quite a bit this season on the episode, but we've also talked about the best running backs in WNC, and obviously he's a part of that, but I don't think we've talked about him enough. And in this year's playoffs, he had like damn near 500-yard rushing game last week or something. Like, he's got a full season of rushing yards and touchdowns that 98% of players in North Carolina would dream to have in 2 games. Like,
wasn't one game like almost 800?
I know he had like something stupid like 6, 7, 8 touchdowns.
Yeah, he had 8 touchdowns.
That was last
he had
week.
like 7.
Yeah.
He had like 780 yards.
Oh, I thought he quote unquote only had 500. My bad. So past 2 weeks, he's had like over 1,000 yards, and 12 touchdowns.
Yeah,
I mean,
like you said, a
Lord.
full season's worth for
In
the
2
majority
weeks.
of North Carolina players. Yeah, just crazy. And then I want to point out, Warren, for you, that extra point when they were up 48-40, that made it 49-40. That was critical. Made it a 2-score game.
2-score game. Then they probably panicked and
Well, listen, extra points matter. Kickers matter. You need to hit your extra points. That was crucial. Pretty much put the game away for him with under 3 minutes left to play. So Murphy advances to the regional finals. We'll talk about their game here in a minute and do our previews and picks for that. Now, unfortunately, boys, in our last game, Mountaineers' Cinderella run came to an end in a 58-22 loss. Starmount, quarterback Deuce Best and running back Jameer Billups combined for 5 touchdowns. They were just too much for Mitchell to handle.
I mean, you got 2 players with those kind of names. Yeah, they're going to put up some numbers.
Deuce Best and Jameer Billups.
I mean, those sound like my players or something you create on college football.
You guys remember Deuce McAllister from the Saints? Yeah, well, that's what the Mountaineers ran into. Yeah.
Yeah, but like we mentioned in last week's episode, Starmount was holding teams to 8 points a game on average this year. So Mitchell scored 22. That's not bad.
Yeah.
But great season for the Mountaineers. Nothing to be ashamed of as the 11th seed, coming into the new playoff format system and showing you guys were underseeded was a great way to start off the new format. So props to you. We didn't expect you to go this far. You did. And even though you're graduating a lot of key contributors next year, they do return quarterback Owen Riddle. We've talked about him a bunch, so that's huge for them next season. We'll be excited to see how he does for the Mountaineers. But they're going home, boys. Cinderella's done. And now it's time for our certified Dogs of the Week.
I'm taking my man Christian Conley. He was 5 for 7 passing for 141 yards and 3 touchdowns. Only 7 rushing attempts, but those were for 53 yards and 3 more touchdowns. Christian Conley's son, certified dog.
Yeah, even though he had a down game, I'm going to have to go with Cameron Clem from Murphy. 377 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, he just couldn't even come close to the numbers he put up last week. But still, you are a certified Dog of the Week.
I'm going to go with the Pisgah Bears special teams unit. I honestly have no idea who is on that unit. They recovered 2 onside kicks against Brevard. That's utterly fantastic. And all of you guys heard my certified Dawgs of the week.
I like it. So, guys, we've only got 2 games to talk about. Cause like I mentioned, we're going to get into the Robbinsville game next week's episode. So for our game of the week, we could have picked Brevard versus Maiden or Starmount versus Murphy. We felt like we've been talking about Brevard a lot, maybe not as much about Murphy. Warren, you said we hadn't talked about Cameron Clem enough. Well, here we go. The Mountain Matchups game of the week, Starmount at Murphy.
Yeah, so the first things that stand out to me is Murphy, they're coming in this game at 318 total yards a game, and you got Starmount right there at 312. We know Starmount's got a defense on them. They did let Mitchell put up 22, but everybody else, they were averaging 8 points a game for the whole season. So I'm interested to see how Murphy will be able to handle them. I think Murphy will be fine, though, because it's at home. And also Murphy's defense, I mean, they're averaging 80 tackles a game versus Starmount's 57. So they got him on the defensive side of the ball as well.
Actually, obviously Cameron Clem is going to be a huge problem for Starmount, but their running back Jameer Billups isn't, no scrub or anything. I don't think he can go toe to toe with Clem, but Deuce Best, I think he's a better passer, pure passer, rather than Brady Grant. I think they can hang with Murphy. Whether or not they beat Murphy, I really don't think they can, but I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I think they absolutely can hang with them. I mean, Murphy's averaging 40 points a game on the season. Starmount's averaging 35. Talked about their defense they can play. Really, it's going to be, do you like double B or do you like double C? Billups and Best or Cameron Clem? Which one of those is going to outdo the other one? Because those are the stars of each offense. You got Best at quarterback, throwing for 125 a game and rushing for another 30. And then Jameer Billups, of course, with 93.8 on the ground, his running back partner. I don't know. I think it's going to be closer than Murphy's had to deal with. I know that Corvian game tightened up a little bit on him, but I think this one's going to be tough. I'm not sure how they're gonna fare.
I don't know if Starmount's a better football team, but I think they might be more athletic.
They seem more balanced to me.
Yeah,
they got. I think Corey already talked a little bit about it. 186 rushing yards a game, 125 passing. So I don't know.
I mean, but then again, if you're Murphy and your running back is quite literally averaging 550 yards rushing per game in the playoffs, you don't need balance. This isn't Thanos. Like, screw balance. Give the guy the rock. You know what I mean?
Yep, for sure. All right. I don't know. I just, after seeing how Starmount handled Mitchell, who had been one of the hottest teams in WNC, I got a bad feeling for Murphy. But let's do our picks. Warren, start us off.
I'm not going against my WNC brethren. I'll take Murphy by 8.
I'm going to do the same. I'm going to stick with the WNC team. I'm going with Murphy. I got him by 9, but I'm nervous. I'm very nervous.
I think that Murphy is going to learn from last week because they jumped out on Corvian pretty good and ended up letting Corvian come back. They might have let off the gas a little bit. I think Clem has a huge game. They got home field advantage again. I think Murphy gets it done. I think Murphy goes and wins by 12.
I mean, they damn well better get it done because we need teams to talk about next week. We can't sit around here for half an hour and talk about, what are we going to do? If Brevard beats Maiden, we're going to talk about Brevard for half an hour again? Like,
I
God
could.
Dang.
We probably could.
Yeah, we probably could. But
we'll get Danny on here. We can easily do a 2-hour episode.
Yeah. We can do a whole season in review and go game by game and talk about how they got to this point. So let's get into that game, Warren, and talk about Brevard. You have the number 6 seed Maiden, who knocked off number 2 seed High Brighton, going to Brevard, who of course kept its playoff push rolling with the 49-28 win over Pisgah. The Blue Devils, they've now won 9 games this season by 3 touchdowns or more.
Yeah, and Maiden's coming in after slightly edging High Brighton 29-8. Senior Shannon Wingate powered their run game with 113 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a 74-yard burst. Their quarterback, Grant Lawing, added 198 yards through the air with 2 scores of his own. So Maiden has, we talked about balance. Maiden's coming in with that balance you referred to earlier with that passing game and run game. And Brevard's been known to be in a little bit of, vulnerable to that kind of stuff. So we'll see how that goes.
The first thing that stands out to me when I look at these two teams is that they both played Reynolds, and it was in the first part of the season. Brevard mollywopped the Rockets, while Maiden lost a close one.
Mollywopped.
Yeah.
Mollywopped.
Straight up spanked that rear end to the Rockets. But while Maiden, they lost a close one to Reynolds at home. So, and I know there's a lot of ball that was played after these two games. And yes, I'm sure Maiden has improved, and they're definitely capable of pulling off the upset. I know that they've got athletes down there, and they have good culture and good tradition. But I can't help but think that Brevard loves their chances going into this one.
Yeah, and I think Brevard's obviously improved since then as well. So Maiden did beat a pretty freaking good High Brighton team, though. So it's definitely going to be interesting.
So how about this, guys? We were looking at the stat comparisons on Max Preps. It appears that Maiden goes all in on their stats keeping because they have 139 pancake blocks on the year. So if that's accurate, it sounds like their offensive line is pretty stout. 139 pancakes.
Also, if that's
Baylor
accurate,
Duncan with 44 on his own.
Also, if that's accurate, UW&C teams take note because more stats, the better. We'll talk about some pancake stuff on here.
Yeah, when I look at these two stats, I want to compare just how these two teams are like so even. But each team's averaging 60 tackles a game. Total yards per game, you got Brevard 367, you got Maiden 356. Maiden slightly edges Brevard in the passing game. But Brevard's got them in the rushing game, and it's only separated by like 20 and 30 yards in each category. So I don't know. This one could be a barn burner.
I think Grant Lawing is going to be a problem for Brevard. Brevard's Mahaffey, got by them a little bit in the passing game. Grant Lawing's a better player than Mahaffey. I think they're going to have to step it up a little bit as far as, defending the pass.
Yeah. Well, and Lawing can run the ball a little bit too.
Yeah, that's so.
Yeah. Mahaffey had, 50 yards, we said?
Yeah. I think he had
Running
like
the ball
50 yards on 6 carries with a touchdown. It's either 50 or 58.
So I don't know. Maiden might take a look at that and say, take off Lawing on a few plays. We'll see.
And even Lawing run the ball. They got Shannon Wingate who can run the crap out of the ball as well. So it's.
I will say this. We preach on how good Tristan Thompson-Wynn is, and yes, he's a phenomenal football player, so I'm not taking away from that when I say this. But again, when I watch the highlights of this last game against Pisgah, there's some times he's playing cornerback, and yeah, he's got the speed, he's got the hands, and he can cover stuff, but he didn't look like he really wanted to tackle anybody. Just from some of the plays that I saw. I don't know if he's like that all game, but so against a team like Maiden, you're going to have to be willing to get down and tackle somebody.
Yeah, if not, you're going to get pancaked 44 times seriously. By Baylor Duncan. Okay, so yes, Maiden scraped by 29-28 over the 2-seed High Brighton, or Hibberton, as Warren is fond of saying. Hibberton. So they've proven they can knock off a high seed on the road, too. Let's do our picks. I'm sticking with the champs. I'm going with Brevard by 3. I'm sticking with them.
Yeah, so I had Brevard by 14 until I've really started studying these stats more and more, and just remembering how good of a culture that Maiden has. I think it could end up being a little bit tougher for Brevard than I thought. But I've still got the Blue Devils, but I'm taking them by 8.
I think this is going to be a really close game till the fourth quarter. I think Brevard's a second-half team. I think Brevard wins by 10.
Yeah, it's going to help that they're at home, you would think.
And And I think they're going to be hungry from last year to avenge that loss in the regional final.
So we could end up with 3 teams in the state championship game. That would be amazing. So we're done. Short episode today. There's not a lot for us to talk about at this point, since we only got 3 games left to cover. I will say that we're working on an awards style episode that we're going to do at the very end of the year. So we're not sure if that'll be in a couple weeks after Robbinsville's played, and we can kind of recap and talk about that. Or, well, no, I guess it would be, because that would be the absolute latest game we could have, because by then everybody would be playing their championship game. So anyways, ignore everything I said. We've got at least a couple more episodes in us. Boys, we got anything else? We're going to get out of here. This is a quick one.
No, we just need these WNC teams to win. We need something to talk about. We don't want some awkward 10-minute episode where we try to dissect Robbinsville football for,
scoring 60 points on somebody.
Yeah, Robbinsville wins 60-3, and we have to talk about the game for 4 minutes. We don't want to do that.
While I'm sitting here eating a bowl of chili.
Cornbread.
All right. Well, then let's get out of here. Like Warren said, good luck to Brevard and good luck to Murphy. Give us something to keep talking about. We're having fun with this. We want to finish the year strong, just like I know you guys do. So good luck. We're excited for you, and we'll see you next week. Love you guys.
Love you, brother.
Love you.